Hello everyone, this is Defense Politics Asia, and this is the summary for the day of 903 for the 14th of August, or the situation report of the SITREP for the Ukraine war or the special military operation in Ukraine. And which is no longer only in Ukraine, it's now in Russia as well. It's a special military operation in Russia, in Kursk. So we're going to start off with the Kursk update. I will not go into super details for this. There won't be analysis for this because I want to do it separately as a separate video, because if not then this video becomes super long. So just some general thing. The Ukrainian forces are pretty much close to what I said yesterday, that they pretty much are not getting much more further. The front line seems to be starting to solidify. The only difference place is that over on the this western front, the Ukrainian forces managed to sneak around the Russian forces around Snagos, and they arrive over in Krasno-Otobersky. The another one is over at this settlement called the Veneza Ponoi, and they managed to also break through, and in fact they have captured this area. Previously we do know that there is fighting reported at Gordievka. Russian forces are defending the border region, so it could be the case where the border is just too long. This front line is just too long. This is like 70 kilometers. So, and we are not even counting the one on top. The front line is way too long for the Russian forces around here to hold, because generally I don't think their regular forces is here yet. So the Ukraine forces managed to sneak past and actually captured a town around here. So, and further up north, the situation remains the same. Ukrainian forces are attacking Karenevo, Ogovka, and trying to go around to the northern part of Korenovo. They have not been managed to break through, with the Russian forces managed to hold the line pretty well. So this is the only one. They managed to get past and do some weird stuff around here. So potentially they can actually go to the rear, but I don't know how much troops they have, going through the forest or whatnot. It remains to be seen. So flow like water. The Ukrainian forces are indeed flowing like water, and the Russians are trying to damp up this water. So far, largely has been pretty successful, except this leak that's happening over this area here. There is a evacuation from Glushkovo, according to the acting governor of the region. So I wonder, why is it acting? Did the governor got sacked? I have no idea. So anyway, so it could be a reaction to this incursion. So since the Ukrainians have kind of breakthrough, this is one of the major towns. So I think they are trying to evacuate just in case. So over at the northern flank, the Ukrainian forces are attacking Skrilevka. They're no longer over this far out over at the Obishkeyiv Koledes. I forgot how to pronounce it. But anyway, the Ukrainians are attacking over this area. Kauchuk in this called the Alexievsky, and pretty much this is the line. The Russians pretty much have held the line more or less around this area here. So this is pretty much the furthest extent. There is fighting reported at Kremeyanoe, and that's here. This is the region around here. If I move, I shouldn't have just. Let me push this up a bit so that we can cover a bit more over in the southern part. So the south of this position is interesting. We have fighting reported at Pogrebki as well as Kruglenkoe. Russian forces are actually pushing out over in Malaya Loknia, and I suspect, so I cannot confirm this, but I suspect Malaya Loknia has been recaptured by the Russian forces, because they have captured prisoner of war there. And the fact that they have captured prisoner of war, I got a feeling that this highway is now retaken by the Russian forces as well, and the front line is actually in the rear position around like this. It could be something like this. So I'm not exactly sure. This front line is a bit funky right now, so we'll just have to continue to wait and for more information to see how this develop. So we just note that the Ukrainians are so far up north, but then they haven't even finished their food downstairs. So swallow before you eat another mouth of food. So over at this Sudzha. How do I suddenly don't know how to pronounce it? Sudzha region. North of Sudzha region, the Ukrainian forces are attacking Ruskoye, Poroshnoye, and they're also attacking Chikaskoye, Porashnoye. The Russian forces continue to hold Martinovka. And so the Russian forces is basically holding a very strong line here. The fighting reported at Bolshoi Solaskoye is already no more. There's no more fighting around that region, at least not reported. So the incursion probably have failed. And according to the Ukrainians, they claim that they have captured Sudzha. This is announced by Sersky. And but how? And they actually sent media into Sudzha as well. But from the Russian side of information, there is still fighting in the area of Sudzha, in the vicinity. To the Russians, the city is not fully captured. But I can tell you also how the media managed to get in, because Sudzha is pretty wide, and the media is probably over in this area here of Sudzha. The other side here, this on the eastern part is where the fighting is probably happening. This is the dangerous part. So the Ukrainian media is actually over here. They are actually reporting from here and not over on the other side, which is pretty far away. We are talking about, like, it could be as far as 4 kilometers. It's pretty far away. It's pretty safe to be on the western part. So for the media, this is how they managed to go to Sudzha to report. Yet the Russians say they are fighting, and the Ukrainians say they captured it. And all this discrepancy can be all true at the same time. So over at the eastern flank, or the southern flank, I would say, the Ukrainians attacked over in the region of Kamishnoye. But then this is based on this is reported, and then the geolocation was a huge I think it's around a platoon to maybe half a platoon. They all went into one single barn warehouse, and then the entire warehouse got destroyed. So I'm not sure if the Ukrainians still have any troops around here, because the entire squad was gone. The entire infantry group is gone. There is fighting reported over at Ulanok. And Ulanok, there is Russian forces captured some POW as well. So we know that there is at least firm control over at Ulanok, and there is not necessarily firm control over at the region of Kameshnoe. So the Russians are still clearing the region of Giri and Ozerki. The Russian sources are a bit nervy about this area, because they're not so sure, because the Ukrainians are still operating around this area here. So whatever it is, the line has been pretty much drawn. That's a problem now for the Ukrainians. Like I said, if the line is becoming more rigid, it's going to be to the disadvantage of the Ukrainians. Over the south, the Ukrainians tried to attack Kolotilovka again. They tried to break through, but they failed. There's a footage of the Max Pro literally drive and try to drive quickly through the very narrow road, but they drive too fast, and then they crash into one of the dragon teeth, and then the vehicle just stopped, and then they got destroyed. And then now the road is blocked because the Max Pro is stuck at the middle of the road. So I think Kolotilovka is pretty much gone for now, for the Ukrainians, unless they're going to use infantry to break through. So vehicle wise, I think there is no hope now. For now, the road is blocked. And so that's it from the Sumy region. We move into the Kharkiv front. At the Kharkiv front, the Russian forces is reportedly attacking Sonitsky Kozachok, according to the Ukrainian Defense Ministry's report. So this happened. And over at the Lipsy sector, there is some interesting development. The Russian forces are attacking over at Lipsy, and they also captured grounds over in the southeast of Lukyansk, as well as southwest of Klipoke, and which means that if you have been following the SITREP, for I know most of the non-DPA regular viewers wouldn't have known, but the regular viewers would have known that this front line is pretty much very, very static, despite there's constant fighting. And the fact that there is frontline changes right now might suggest that the Russians have launched an offensive. So this is the current, I would say, projection or the analysis that the current situation is. We will continue to monitor and see if there's more frontline changes being reported from this area here to confirm. If fighting reach Nekushny, then we can 100% for sure that there must be some kind of offensive currently happening. All Russian forces geolocated within the Dacha confirm there is an offensive ongoing. So it could be a reaction to the Kursk offensive. The Russians wanted to put pressure on the Ukrainian side. So that's something to take note of. Over the Vodian sector, the Russian forces are still pushing, very likely over at Voschansk, and they're attacking Taike. There is a geolocation of a Russian airstrike on Taike. So the Russians despite the whatever happening in Kursk, does not stop striking by airstrike on Ukrainian forces in the Kharkiv front. And this is very important to know, because if we want to believe that the Ukrainian offensive is a way to divert Russian attention from their special military operation inside Ukraine, to draw away resources to give their forces, maybe at least in the Kharkiv front, a break, is not working. So that's the main gist of why we are covering everything in the situation report. We want to know the big picture. So then by covering daily, even on the sleepy fronts, we know what the hell is happening. So this is the situation over the Kharkiv front. So we move into the Kupiansk front. At the Kupiansk front, there is fighting reported in the Sinkivka and Petropavlivka region again. Nothing much around here. The main push isn't here, I think. So anyway, there is fighting reported at Berestove and Stemakivka in the Svatove front. Ukrainian forces geolocated in the rear positions, getting struck by Russian, I think, artillery. Yeah, I'm not sure. Some kind of strike. So whatever it is, so that is the situation over at Svatove front. We move further south. Over at the southern part of the Svatove front, Russian forces are attacking over at Novovodian, Makievka, and Nevsky. Nothing really spectacular around this area here per se. It's just our generic reports about fighting in this area here. In the south, in the Crimea front, we have fighting reported at Terny and Torske, and that's about it. We move into the Sivas front. At the Sivas front, the Sivas offensive is ongoing. If you read the Ukrainian Defense Ministry's report, they still mention a pretty high number of attacks, but this is of course not the hottest front. Hottest front is actually over in Kursk, Adievka. These two is the hottest front. And the Russian forces are attacking over at Blokhorivka, Verkhanokanyamsky, Sperne, Vimka, as well as Perezny. So pretty much the entire front line is burning right now. The Russian forces are pushing across the entire front line and no sign of stopping. The Kursk offensive is not doing anything in terms of diverting attention. Very important to note. And over at Verkhanokanyamsky, I believe there's an airstrike. Yes, there's an airstrike within Verkhanokanyamsky, and the pressure is building around this area here. Like I said, the next frontline intel drop is going to be pretty big, I suspect. We move into the Bakhmut front. At the Bakhmut front, this is a pretty sleepy one. Fighting reported at Chasivya and Andriivka. And see, I told you, Chasivya offensive is not the real thing. You see? Anyway, we move into the New York front. Over at the New York front, the Russian forces are attacking, of course, in the two sectors, Torex and the New York sector. Let's cover the Torex first. Fighting reported at Druzhba, Pivnishny, towards Torex and Zalizny. So across the entire front line, you can see the Russian forces are pushing towards Torex, and within Torex, there is also FPV drone strike hitting Ukrainian stuff, positions, and vehicles. And there is something important to note is that the Russians started to use a new kind of FPV drone. The drone didn't change. What changed is the transmission. They no longer use radio frequency. They basically just plug. They allegedly fiber optics. I have no idea how you use fiber optics for this kind of thing because fiber optics is so fragile, but somehow they allegedly is using fiber optics. And I also do not know how do they manage to do it. And the result is that the FPV drone cannot be jammed. It's just unjammable. And the footage that they now publish is super clear. It's HD clear. It's It's ridiculous. So yeah. So welcome to 21st century warfare, where you use wired FPV drones, wired drones to hit target. And a long time ago, we used to have something called wire guided missiles. So yeah, it's amazing how we go forward and backwards, forwards and backward in terms of technology. So we go to the New York front, the New York sector, and this is where the interesting thing is. The Ukrainian mapping has considered massive amount of rounds that the Russian forces has basically break across to the northern part of New York through the center, and they have also captured the entire western part of New York. The entire Dacha region has fallen as they push towards Sukabalka. And the fact that the Russian mapping is actually around here means that this entire area is probably all captured by now. This entire area can't possibly have Ukrainian forces because the retreat route is pretty limited. The Ukrainians must be in some kind of mass withdrawal by now. And fighting is now reported at Nelipivka, and this is according to the Ukrainian Defense Ministry. So whatever I've said about the pincer is happening somehow. Where the attack come from, we do not know, but there is only just report of fighting at Nelipivka. This is reported, as you see, by the Ukrainian Defense Ministry General Staff of Zelensky's SU super unit. So so it could be an attack from Zelizny, or it could be attack directly from New York, because the Russian forces maybe have already captured most of New York and then they are pushing Nelipivka. That is also possible. But if they are pushing Nelipivka from New York, the retreat is going to be worse, because they would have to go through open ground to retreat out, and the Russian forces would just have a field day, shooting at them in the open. So that is a disaster right now. So this New York front is pretty much more or less going to be over soon, from how I look at it. So anyway, that's it from this area. And there's fighting reported at Oleksandropil. Not important. Nobody cares about them. We don't give them love. It's a sad child. Just suck them. So we move into the northern part of the Avdiivka front. At the northern part of the Avdiivka front, fighting is reported at Zelene Pole, Vodizenka, as well as Yelizavetivka. So yeah, but the Russians are not pushing north because they determined to prove that no, I am wrong, and I have to concede I'm wrong. So I thought that they were going to push north towards Konstantinivka in this way, but no, too easy for them. They are not Russians. If they do something easy, they have to do something difficult. They go for Pokrov. So this is the main direction right now, and yeah, I have to concede. So this area here is turning out to be some kind of a rhinoceros right now. As I mentioned in the frontline changes report, this is a rhino, and it's very metal. There's a lot of horns, and it's looking like very cool. That is very, very angry. And this is a metal rhino, and a metal rhino is come about because the Russian forces have captured Olivka in a single swoop, and they have entered into Zuravka and entered into Mykolaievka all at the same time. So I have to zoom in a bit so that it's easier. Russian forces attacked into Zuravka and into Mykolaievka and captured the entire of Olivka. This is ridiculous. That means that there is no Ukrainian forces defending at all. If not, there is no way the advance is going to be this fast. The entire front has collapsed. This is a rout. Maybe not yet rout, but it's a collapse. So if it's a rout, then of course the Russian forces will be taking 10-20 kilometers, something like the Ukrainians did in the initial part of the Kursk offensive. So that's a problem. Russian forces are now battling in Khrodiivka, and they are now on the verge of attacking the alternate first boss. It's like, why fight with one first boss when you can fight two? So the Russians are now heading for the second first boss. So and then over at Zeleny, Russian forces have captured Zeleny as the Ukrainians finally conceded that the Russians have taken the entire settlement, and now we have fighting reported at Pitishe and Skushny. I have no idea how they fight over here. So I suspect the Russians have already taken even much more advanced position, and they are now attacking into this direction. Russian forces could attack Skushny from two different directions. So let's see how they actually fight there. Yeah. So over at the did I? My mapping didn't update. No, it should be no. Never mind. Never mind. It's okay. No, I will draw it further later. Yeah, Google Map. Over at the southern part, we have fighting reported over at Kalivka, and that's about it. And we move on away from Kalivka. We go to the Marinka sector. Russian forces are fighting over in Krasnohorivka, Georgievka, and Konstantinivka. These two are major battles that we need to take note of. And particularly over at the Krasnohorivka, there's some updates. According to the Ukrainian mapping, the Russians have started to attack into the northern area, the northern half or northern portion of Krasnohorivka. So they are attacking there. Previously, we have updates of them attacking westward. So they are really just attacking everywhere. So very ambitious. Over at the Voleda sector, Russian forces geolocated in a more advanced position, and they are attacking towards Vodian and towards Voleda. And Voleda is interesting because this is now confirmed by the Ukrainian Defense Ministry. They say that the Russians tried to advance to Voleda. They tried to advance to Voleda. That's amazing. So let's see. Let's see if this is a Voleda offensive. There's nothing else over in the rest of the Donetsk front. You go into the Zaporizhia front and over at the Orikhiv sector, the Russian forces continue their very vague pincer of attacking Malatomashka and Novodanilivka. And that's about it over at the Orikhiv sector. Over the Kherson front, we only have the usual from the Ukrainian Defense Ministry about fighting in the Pidnipropsky direction. And so that's all we know. There's nothing much that we know about. And I think, yeah, that's about it. So this is the summary for the day of 903 for the 14th of August. Do press the like button, subscribe. If you watched to this point, clearly you should subscribe, because then why else would you have watched all the way to the end? So clearly you will find the information interesting and or useful. So do subscribe for more. And so do check out the Frontline Changes report. And later, if I'm free, I will do up the Kursk offensive update. And I'll see you guys in the next update. Check out the videos.